If you're unfamiliar with Brass Eye was a mock. It was a parody of a current affairs show. It was perfect. The Day to Day was a parody of a news show. It was perfect. Perfectly done. It got to a stage now when you'd watch the news or watch a current affairs program, you just couldn't watch it the same way because you go, oh yeah, that's what they're taking the piss out of. And it used to, prank celebrities, but in one of the most clever ways ever done, getting them just talk about ridiculous stuff. Just look it up, watch it. And the weird thing about Brass Eye finished in the last episode, I think was in 2001, maybe 2000, which was the Peter Geddon episode. They only did 7 episodes, but those 7 episodes shit all over anything else. And you can watch the TV or current affairs shows now, 20 years on, and they're just doing the same shit. It's like you were mocked into, they mocked you so hard that you shouldn't be doing this anymore. The fact that they haven't realized that they are a parody of themselves and they're still doing it is fascinating to me. You could not watch Brass Eye and then watch TV now and go, what the hell? That is exactly am I watching the satire now? But no, you're watching a real news program. You have to get involved. It just shows they haven't changed how they've done it in 20 years because it's still doing the same crap with their stupid, soundbite statistics that don't make sense. And they're going, oh, hey, what do you think about this virus? Well, I don't know. Yeah, what about the gas shortages? 20% of... Literally, 20% of people who don't have gas believe that there isn't any gas. That stuff actually goes on. It spoke truth to power. Peter Geddon was one of the greatest creations ever. That was episode 7, a one-off special. You watch that now, 20 years on, and you'll be like, what the fuck? And it was the same reaction when it came out. It was like, oh my God, hilarious. But my God, did that touch some... on the nose? A bit, ooh, you know what I'm saying? There's one sequence where it says, here's a paedophile dressed as a school. And it's a guy dressed as a school. There's one bit when it's Simon Pegg. And Chris Morris says, do you fancy my son? Do you want to sleep with my son? He's like, no. It's like, why not? He's not my type. I don't fancy him. Goes, what's wrong with my son? What I'm saying is, they don't make shit like that no more. Because that spoke deep. That hit deep. Why did it hit deep? Because pedo paranoia. That was big in the 90s. Before, the mid-90s, no one ever heard of a pedophile. It was just creepy uncles. The van man. It used to be Charlie the cartoon cat would come on and go, rah, 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 and say, Charlie says, don't get in the van with the rapist. And you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. They never gave them a name, and then suddenly in the mid-90s, late 90s, it was just pedo paranoia. Everyone was a pedophile. You're at school, and they go, yeah, you're a pedophile. And I go, what does that even mean? I go, well, you are one. It became an insult in the playground. They didn't even know what it meant, and then suddenly it was like, oh, that's a pedophile. Jesus. And Jonathan Haidt talks about this in his book, The Coddling of the American Mind, or whatever it is, but how that in the 90s, this is a phenomenon across Western culture. We became very scared of letting our children roam around outside. I say our children, I ain't got no kids. But, letting kids roam around outside because there's pedophiles out there that are going to get you. And what Brass Eye did was perfectly tap into that and go, this is the media fear-mongering you again. It all comes back down to them, doesn't it? Well, are you listening yet? Do you get it yet? And they created this pedo paranoia because the amount of pedophiles that were out there was very small. It's not the biggest threat, but you would have thought the way they mollycoddle kids and literally just you can't even step out the front door of a pedophile, trying to snatch your kid. They thought pedophiles would come down the chimney like Father Christmas to snatch their kids in the night. Pure media-driven paranoia and fear. And Brass Eye used to tackle that kind of thing, and it tackled it so good with Peter Geddon. It's probably one of the greatest pieces of satire ever made. without a doubt. And it's full on. It's like, whoa, full on. Did it receive a lot of complaints? Yes. oh, yes. But it perfectly encapsulated the fear-mongering of the times. Now, I've tried to do this myself. You know, I had a comedy podcast, and I've got the comedy YouTube channel. We've always tried to tackle these things head on in the most full-on way possible, because that's like the best way. But none of that's being done. You think about all the crazy shit that's going on now with the paranoia. You know, the vaccination drive is insane. It's ripe for satire. It doesn't matter if it's like, oh, be responsible. Don't put people off getting vaccinated. Yeah, well, stop making yourselves look like idiots then. Everything with Brexit. Insanity. The fact that Greta Thunberg exists and no one's really going, look, Greta Thunberg's at the UN going, how dare you? Like, this is hilarious. R. Kelly. And what was the audio tape? Here we played the harrowing audio of one of R. Kelly's victims. And she's saying, now I can't remember the exact quote, but it goes like this. It says, I'm wet playing in my shit for daddy. There's been people clapping at the sky. A national hero was a 99-year-old man walking around his garden in a Zimmer frame. I get it, all right. Okay, you needed a bit of a pick-me-up. But my God. Thousands of people, oh, thank you, Saint Tom. Like, this shit is hilarious, though. My God, if you can't see that this shit is funny, then you shouldn't, well, you're not cut out to make jokes. This is hilarious. All this stuff should be mocked. It should be shown for what it is, but no one's doing it. Now, and so what did I find myself watching? My mother was watching it. Some bullshit on Netflix. I was like, what is this? Something called Sex Education. And it was just potty and sex talk, the entire thing. I think that is what is considered to be edgy. The only way you make something edgy now is if you swear a lot, use potty talk, and talk about sex. Now, let's clear things up. Do I make a lot of saucy references? Do I say some really obscene things in my streams and on my podcast, my video? Yes, of course I do. But that's me. But I also like to make some poignant points. But if that's just me talking, trying to wind people up. But for realsies, go check out my canon. Go check out my fucking backlog, baby. It was never overly reliant on potty talk and fucking... You know, I like using words in a clever way that's funny, but that's just wordplay. But I would never write a comedy sitcom that was just solely reliant on talking about sex, because this is 2021. That would be outrageous and edgy, perhaps in the early 90s, because they did have shows like that. Oh, this sex talk, oh. We are so regressed when it comes to sex that it's just humorous, you know, and doing poos and pee-pee. Poo and pee-pee. That's what I was saying on the sex education. It's like, well, yeah, I gave this guy a hand job over the summer, yeah. Well, 2.5. One was... It was like this, and this is what has replaced everything. This is edgy talk. So you come out and you say, yeah, I'm mad. Like, you see, I seen a female comedian one time who went, yeah, I was masturbating and looking at a photo of my dad. And I was like, that's just fucked up, bitch. That's not funny. It's kind of funny, but like, you know, that's where it's at. Instead of calling things out for how they really are, you know, when you've got a weightlifter, who's identifies as a female, who is just this tank of a person and is beating all women, and no one calls that out. It's like, do you understand what's going on here? Isn't everything a little bit woo? And, you know, this sex education thing, I wasn't rewatching it. I was doing something on the computer and just listening to it. And I was like, this is unbearably shit. It's like the In-Betweeners, but without... I mean, the In-Betweeners is bad enough, but, like, it was just worse. Like, it really, like, you know, it's so juvenile and just lacking any substance and any real edge, because you can create something that is completely unedgy. and make it seem edgy by having toilet talk and lots of swearing and sex talk. Like those crappy comedies they used to have in the noughties. You know, the comedy films going, sex summer camp. I want to get blown this summer, dude. Let's get blown. Have you been blown this summer? 5 horny guys want to get blown this summer. It's like, it's the lowest common denominator when it comes to fucking humor. It really is. Like, but that's the kind of thing that's propped up now. Like, so many shows are just like that. It's like, oh, we're going to swear and talk about masturbating and periods. It's like, this isn't the 90s, okay? Like, we've been there and done that. Like, this is what you've been reduced to, because they won't dare to cover any other topics. They won't dare dig deep. Everything's just this on-the-nose shit. The amount of times I've seen clips from these crappy shows when it's like, oh, here's a racist and I'm going to school them. Yeah, I voted Brexit and I hate black people. And it's like, let's make a joke about that. It's like, what? You know, there's only one target. It was apparently, you know, poor people. You're the scum now. I just find it atrocious. You can watch a satirical program like Mock the Week, and I haven't watched that in years. But, you know, back in the day, it had a sprinkling of edge to it. I mean, it wasn't very edgy, but, you know, if people were saying some crazy shit, that was on point. And this is the point. When stuff's on point, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. That's great. Good. It's like that, because that is speaking truth. There's no truth being spoken. You're watching these shows and these stand-up comedians going, yeah, have you ever done a really big poo? Yeah, you do poos, don't you? It's disgusting, isn't it? Let's talk about poo. Yeah, let's come on stage going, yeah, I'm going to swear a lot. Fucking. It's not like I've got the cleanest mouth of all time, but like, if you took my swearing away, you'd still be offended. That's the whole point. You'd still be like, oh, you shouldn't talk about that. No one's talking about the things where... No one's talking about the stuff that makes you go, oh, wow, I can't believe they said that. Because you should be. That's the point. It's to make a point. It's to go, yeah, you feel uncomfortable with that? Well, maybe this is why. But now they think being uncomfortable is like a girl talking about her periods for 10 minutes. As if we're all freaked out by periods. As if most dudes wouldn't fuck a girl who's on her period. Like, come on. People... Men are hounds. They don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. Are you freaked out by my period? Like, no. No. South Park smashed it and said, just talk about your... She made a joke about her vagina, and it was very funny. You want to be a female comedian? Just talk about your vagina. It is kind of like that. It's lowbrow, poor quality, bawdy shit.